Hey, good. How are you? There you go. If you read that, go to our website. He's my son. He's serving a double life sentence for all nonviolent charges.
Where?
In Colorado, in a federal prison.
Why?
He created the Silk Road website. Have you heard of that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's him.
Yeah, we're supposed to be a beacon of liberty and all that, and it's like we incarcerate more of our people than any other country in the world. Sometimes I'm like, I don't even believe this. Oh gosh.
I want the story to be about the technology. I want the story to be about how technology can solve real world problems. That's what the story needs to be.
During the SEC investigation, it definitely slowed things down and distracted. And the weeks leading up to that was stress beyond compare and not being able to do work.
Our forefathers sacrificed to create a nation based upon liberty and democracy. Now our government is attacking its own citizens for developing technology based on the purest expression of those values.
Well, the threat is that innovation goes overseas. And if blockchain is everything that I've bet my entire career that it's going to be, which will be the most important technology of my time, it may not be developed and fostered in the US.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
An email from our lawyers that are working with the SEC, and the SEC has thrown out the idea of freezing all of our assets. And so we're responding with documentation on how the ICO ran, what were the results of the ICO, what have been the disbursements since the ICO.
You know, on top of Dragon Chain getting subpoenaed, Joe, Eileen, and I got individual subpoenas because it's stressful and it's distracting and it's I wouldn't say a waste of time, but I mean, in terms of companies' time, it kind of is. There is so much legal fees going towards this case and going towards this defense. I definitely feel Joe's stress in regards to having to meet with these guys every day with something that could be solved as easily as just actually making a rule or a regulation.
So we're in Chicago, we're downtown, we're a block or so away from the SEC building, and we have a meeting there all day today, interview, whatever it would be, where I basically have to go answer questions and give them details, and, you know, whatever they ask. So it'll be interesting.
Eileen, that is one of our founding members, Eileen Yu, who I love dearly and respect dearly, and she is no longer with us. And I truly believe that if that whole situation with the SEC didn't happen, that would not have happened. This was her dream job. She came out of Disney. She's one of the founding members in regards to this whole thing coming together and played a huge role in regards to Dragon Chain's growth and where it is at today. We lost a great worker because of this whole situation by a third party, and it's unfortunate, but yeah, so she's no longer with the company, and I wish her the best.
I'm here in Chicago, and I just got out of meeting, interview, testimony with SEC. We definitely got into a lot of the details of utility and what Dragon Chain is and what's different about it.
And I personally feel very good in regards to how the conversations went, and I'm just so happy that that kind of part is over with and that we can get to focus on building.
I feel like this past year has made our business stronger, has made our marriage stronger, our family stronger, and just I feel like we're stronger individually and as people We've really grown from this experience.
You had Joe in meetings with lawyers 4 or 5 hours a day. You had the CEO of this company, a thought leader in this industry, a revolutionary in terms of the tech, right? And instead of focus on building the technology that, that came out of Disney and is well respected, he's just in meetings all day talking with legal. That's not how you innovate. That's not the American dream. That's not the freedom to do what you want to do. And it's horrible.
I'm just thinking back on what we could have done with that money in terms of growth and putting it into resources as far as people.
Yeah, it's frustrating because you're gonna see places like China and Japan and places that are more friendly towards this technology and regulating it. They're going to experience huge growth, huge innovation, huge financial rewards, and hopefully we can get our crap together and do the same thing.
I do feel like the future looks bright right now. I feel so much better about it.
We have the actual technology, and I'm just excited now to present that to the world. And this isn't imaginary anymore, no.
It's good relief.
But hopefully from here on out, it'll get a little easier.
The biggest criminal trial in the history of the internet is over this morning, and so apparently is Ross Ulbricht's freedom.
First-time offender, no record of violence at all, no victim came forward at trial to say Ross had harmed them, and yet he got double life plus 40 years. Yeah, I'm Lynn Ulbricht, and I'm the mother of Ross Ulbricht, who's the defendant in the Silk Road case, who is currently serving 2 life sentences plus 40 years for all nonviolent charges for his role in that website. He's always been a very idealistic person and cares about people and ideas and ways to make the world a better place. And that is where he was coming from with creating Silk Road. But it was an open market and fairly unregulated, and the idea of drugs being exchanged, which, by the way, 70% of what was on there was small amounts of cannabis. Just to be clear, there were rules. It wasn't a totally open market. It was based on a philosophy of voluntary interaction and no force. Things that created victims were not allowed, and that would include, say, child pornography or stolen property. A Silk Road admin said one of his jobs was all day long taking off things like hacking software and violent services. He wanted people to experience a truly free market that was safe and private. Although I certainly don't go, oh, Silk Road was a great thing and everything on it was great, and no, I don't. And I don't defend drugs or any of that. But this isn't even about drugs, this case. It's really about personal privacy and freedom and due process.
The biggest criminal trial in the history of the internet is over this morning, and so apparently is Ross Ulbricht's freedom.
First-time offender, no record of violence at all, no victim came forward at trial to say Ross had harmed them, and yet he got double life plus 40 years. Certain aspects of witnesses' testimony was stricken from the record. They got to talk about murder for hire even though it wasn't being charged. The jury never ruled on it. It was never proven. It's all been dropped. When a judge, and not a jury, decides that you're guilty of something and uses it to sentence somebody, that's a violation of the Sixth Amendment. The Sixth Amendment was written to protect the accused from that exact thing. That one judge decides, well, maybe it's not proven, and maybe a jury didn't rule on it, but I think it's true. She was recommended by Chuck Schumer, who was behind the case. He's the one that really said, we got to take this down, we got to go after Bitcoin. That was Chuck Schumer, senior ranking member on the Senate Finance Committee, the Banking Committee, and very much involved in financial powers. Silk Road served as the first proof of use of Bitcoin and consequently cryptocurrency. And one author, Brian Eha, in his book, said that was why Ross was the second most important figure in Bitcoin history after Satoshi. The biggest drug seller on Silk Road got 10 years. Menthol, who was running Silk Road 2.0, he was arrested. The government was like, it's identical to Silk Road, only it's bigger. It sells more drugs in a month. It has more listings. 13 days later, he's out. no trial, nothing, and no one knows where he is. If Ross is so dangerous, then why is Blake Benthall out in 13 days? This is not equal justice. And one of the tenets of our system is equal justice under the law. 17,000 nonviolent people in our system now serving life. Life sentences have quintupled since the 80s. And this is a terrible thing. This is wrong. Our values are being hijacked by the criminal justice system. I think that cryptocurrency has a great future. It's an amazing creation. I do think we're at a tipping point in history. I'm looking at a crossroads here. One way is towards more government intrusion and control, and including in cryptocurrency. And the other is towards more innovation and freedom, individual freedom. And we are deciding right now, at this point in history, which way we're going to go.
What are you going to do over the next 20 years?
I want to have had a substantial positive impact on the future of humanity.
What I've loved seeing from my vantage point is people from far-flung corners of the earth who have an opportunity to make a difference.
Anyone can participate in these networks.
This is a new era of disruption, a transfer of wealth. It's a period of time that I knew I was not going to let pass me by.
Down here on Wall Street, I think there's a symbolic meaning to why we chose this location. This is the epicenter of all things economic. And it gets to be that we get to help revolutionize the global economy, or at least play our small part right here on Wall Street. What I've loved seeing from my vantage point is people from far-flung corners of the earth who have an opportunity to make a difference. You don't have to live in San Francisco or, and I say this sitting in a skyscraper in New York, in this city to stand out in this industry.
Blockchain is non-discriminatory. Anyone can participate in these networks. It doesn't matter what your background is, what your credit score is, where you live. If you have access to the technology, you get to participate.
A pair-driven marketplace is something that we obviously need in this world.
Nearly 2/3 of the world's population today doesn't have access to banking. This will begin to give them the same opportunities.
Give people the tools.
Give them the road to drive down.
A system that is equal access to everybody.
So if you think about that, that is a deep, deep foundation for an entirely new world.
Now I'm really excited about actually seeing these companies deploy their blockchains, actually seeing the real impact so that these ideas become real.
The technologies will get to where it needs to be.
But it takes a lot of effort to get that momentum started.
And innovation does not happen in this tiny bubble. It doesn't. Innovation's got to have legs.
Bankers, by being able to just print money and hoard money, the wealth and income gaps start to skyrocket.
And it really comes down to the old way, which is share certificates that collect dust in a filing cabinet versus programmable tokens that you can command to do things.
Help participate and create this new crypto economy for truly decentralized systems of exchange, open source money, if you will.
I'm hoping the world will be a level playing field in 5 to 10 years from now.
Let's make the space collaborative.
This is a new era of disruption, a transfer of wealth. It's a period of time that I knew I was not going to let pass me by.
If we don't go further into Bitcoin and further into cryptocurrency and blockchain, then we're going to get left behind.
And everybody understands that you don't want America to be last.
There are a bunch of great places, it's not disparaging, where people can set up shop. I hope the United States becomes one of them.
It is an arms race, right?
But if we are able to get the government coordinated, put together a strategy, put together a plan to accept and support this innovation in the U.S., then we can still be a dominant player in this ecosystem.
The onus is on us.
You're in control.
We have the f***ing power.
Forget about all these big ads companies. Forget about all the Google ads. Like, that is so, like, old school. Let's think about a new model.
But I'm telling you, you have to start somewhere. And so one of the things we counsel our clients is find a use case. Find a really good one. Find one that works today. Find a problem and then solve it. And if you can do that consistently, we can tell that story.
This hearing is another remote hearing via video. I remind all senators again and the witnesses that the 5-minute clock still applies. And we will proceed in the order I introduced you. So, Mr. Giancarlo, you may proceed.
I was last before you 2 years ago as CFTC chairman. The subject then was Bitcoin. And I urged respect for a new generation's interest in virtual currency innovation with a thoughtful and balanced policy response. Well, today I'm before you to talk about something that is perhaps more important, and that is upgrading our own national currency, the US dollar, into a digital instrument for generations to come.
If we already had a digital dollar, how differently would things look?
It would be, in a sense, an alternative to the existing architecture, which is the accounts-based architecture, which, despite many efforts to modernize, still inherently remains slow, expensive, and rather exclusionary.
Do you think that the Treasury and the Federal Reserve are equipped to take on those pilot projects? Do they have the necessary resources and staffing?
The answer to your question is, I really believe the right way to do this is the way we did it in the space program, the way we did it in the early days of the internet. And that is, the core policy is driven by the official sector, would be driven by the Federal Reserve. But we would bring in the innovativeness of the private sector, the project management skills of the private sector, and the sense of urgency of the private sector to drive this forward.
I take it from your testimony that none of you are opposed to a digital currency for the U.S. dollar. Is my assumption correct?
Yes, Senator.
That's correct.
All right, I'd like each of you to tell me what Congress needs to do.
So it's been 2 years, and my stress level is higher, if that's possible.
It cost us over $3 million in legal fees defending the company from an SEC investigation.
During the SEC investigation, it definitely slowed things down and distracted. And the weeks leading up to that was stress beyond compare and not being able to do work. We've been building this product more and more and making it more stable, making it more, beyond a proof of concept, beyond a beta product, beyond a live product.
In 2 years, we've done so much. We took what was built at Disney and we built hundreds of features on top of it, speed improvements. We've redesigned it from the ground up.
To be able to then show it off at a level of that is indicative and actually can show that real-life applications could be built to withstand, to have that scalability. It's so important nowadays to not just talk about what you've done, but to show it.
We're doing a performance demonstration for DragonNet. So, this is showing all the transactions that are going through production DragonNet. We're trying to spin up about 10 chains. Bitcoin and Ethereum are doing 4 transactions a second, and we're pulling, right now, that last node was 3,486 transactions a second, and that's not even our peak. We're gonna pump this thing up. 246 million since 9 a.m. yesterday. Yeah, 15,142 transactions a second right there.
So fun to see it. To me, it was almost like a SpaceX type of experience to kind of just to see the tech work. I definitely felt a lot of joy and celebration to kind of see the baby walk, or the dragonfly,
We started at a Postgres database and some Python code. And we've changed that into a cloud-native microservices architecture that scales up and down and can be built with the push of a button. And it can handle, 4,000 transactions a second for 24 hours, no problem, while all the developers who built it slept soundly.
The vision that we have since the beginning and remains is to build a platform that you can create anything on, that an entrepreneur can come in and actually leverage that unique, valuable technology that is blockchain in a way that you can't on any other platform.
Our developers have built an exceptional platform, exceptional. As far as Dragon Chain is concerned, no matter what happens, I know the technology will live on.
No matter what happens with the regulators in the US and in the world, there's no stopping blockchain technology, and Dragon Chain will live on. We need to stand together and defend the right to build the America that we want.